I got the opportunity to meet my home visitor, because without her, I think that I would be 10 steps behind from where I'm at right now.
Pero pues aquí pues ya los enseñan un poquito más cosas que uno no sabía. Cómo cuidarla, cómo desarrollarla, cómo educarla, y pues es algo bien porque pues cosas que yo no sabía, pues ya usted nos las dijo y todo como consejos, y pues muchas cosas que se aprendieron.
I don't know what's normal for a 22-month-old baby or an 18-month-old baby, you know. When we get together, we usually discuss and get some progress made with the baby. It makes me feel comfortable, and I associate my parenting with her, my home visitor, telling me, yeah, this is going great.
So it's nice to know where they're at, what stage they're at for every parent, and also to give, again, your children that head start in education.
If I had any questions with her, just call her up on the phone. You know, it was very relatable, very personal. And, you know, with her getting to know my kids, you know, she got to kind of help guide me along the way. I mean, there were so many cool things that I've learned.
I went from a very rough type of life. I was homeless, and she was able to help me get into school, and I actually have enough credits to graduate with the business degree right now.
I think I really want to mention just
So could we have the clerk do the roll call, please?
Director Mike Carter.
Here.
Director Greta Connie.
Here.
Director Jeff Hansen.
Here.
Director Bernie Norvell.
Here.
Director Josephina Duenas. And Tasha Allstrand is absent today. And Vice Chair John Haschek will be acting as chair today. So Acting Chair John Haschek.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, and just for the public, that Supervisor Dan Jurdy, who was the chair of MCOG, took a job with Caltrans, and so he resigned from the Board of Supervisors, and so in essence he resigned from his position as representative to the Mendocino Council of Government. All right. So moving on to item 2. Have there been any requests or notifications?
We have not received any AB 2449 requests.
All right. Then moving on to item 3, approval of the Executive Committee recommendation of October 15th, 2024, authorizing Executive Director to sign the RuralREN North Memorandum of Agreement and bylaws of the 4 governing partners, and the RuralREN is for the Regional Energy Network. So it's something that we've been working on for a couple years now. And so I'll turn it over to Executive Director Barrett.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So we've been reporting periodically about this new Rural Regional Energy Network. We've been working on for 2-3 years now. And on September 26th, we had a decision from the Public Utilities Commission that divided the existing RuralREN into the RuralREN North and the RuralREN Central. So we are now able to become a full partner in the RuralREN North and able to use funds paid by ratepayers to plan, administer, and implement energy efficiency programs. So as part of that, we've been working with this group of partners on various documents, the Memorandum of Agreement, a business plan, bylaws, program budgets, and the like. So as was mentioned, the Executive Committee on October 15th recommended that the full council approve they saw at the time was a draft Memorandum of Agreement with the partners in concept, and authorize the Executive Director to sign it. So that was before County Council had a chance to review it. That's now been done. The Deputy County Council, Matthew Kudrowski, yeah, did review and submit comments on that, and the other partners have had their legal counsels review the document, and all the requested comments and changes were incorporated into a final memorandum of agreement, and that's now ready for board approval. And you have that, both the MOA, Memorandum of Agreement, and the bylaws in your agenda packet there. On the website, it was as a separate document. It's a number of pages, so we had that off to one side. And so once this is approved, we will have, as I've mentioned in my written staff report here, an additional step to do, just as internal governance as the Council of Governments, to amend our joint powers agreement. And so, but we do have support letters from all 5 jurisdictions in the Council of Governments in support of this. And so it's really just kind of a ministerial job that we will ask each of them to pass a resolution to add that energy, the energy issues as a specific power. And we're able to do that in the joint powers. Any other authorized specific powers that aren't already there can be authorized by resolution of each party to the powers. So, but today, what we're asking you to do is to authorize the executive director to sign the RuralREN North Memorandum of Agreement and the bylaws on behalf of MCOG as recommended by the executive committee. Are there any questions about this agreement?
Any questions from the board?
Chance to review.
Any public comment?
I move to recommend that.
Let's see. Okay. You're going to, did you make a motion? Okay, very good. Is there a second?
I'll second. Sorry.
Okay.
I will second.
Okay, we're clear on that? All right, then we'll
I need to do
call the question.
Roll call vote.
oh, okay. Director Mike Carter,
Yes.
Director Greta Connie,
Yes.
Director Jeff Hansen,
Yes.
Director Bernie Norvell,
Yes.
Director Josephina Duenas,
Yes.
and Acting Chair John Haschek.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, very good. I think this is a milestone and something we
It's
can all
pretty
be very
huge.
proud of.
For us, at least,
Right.
yes.
So it's been a long haul, and we're making progress.
It's getting started,
Okay.
and hoping to launch programs new calendar year.
Very good. I think the community will benefit.
Yeah, the idea is save money on your utility bills, and
Okay. So at this point, we're going to convene as the Regional Transportation Planning Agency and recess as the RTPA, Transportation Planning Agency, and reconvene as a Policy Advisory Committee. Okay? So we have this consent calendar. Any comments from the board? Seeing none, any public comment? Okay, back to the board. Motion?
I will move that we approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
All right. Call the question.
Director Mike Carter,
Yes.
Director Greta Connie,
Yes.
Director Jeff Hansen,
Yes.
Director Bernie Norvell,
Yes.
Director Josephina Duenas,
Yes.
and Acting Chair John Haschek.
Yes.
Thank you.
So if anyone is on Zoom and one having their hand raised or wants to make a comment, if people from the board, if I don't have my glasses, I can't see it very well. So if you could help me out on that. Okay, public expression. Any expression from the public?
Good afternoon. My name is Gizmo, and I just wanted to thank the outgoing board members for their time. I know a lot of people here are volunteers. Pretty much everybody, I think, are volunteers. And so we want to make sure that they know that we know that they're spending their time as the public. Oh, yeah, down a little bit. There we go. How's that? A little more clear? Okay, good deal. I also wanted to recognize that there was a death this weekend on one of our roadways. 25-year-old man lost his life. And we need to remember that one of the reasons that we are here is due to keeping people alive and public safety. I haven't seen the report yet from the CHP, and I'm not going to speculate. I'm only going to guess that it might have to do with speeding or speed. And that said, I'll leave that alone. Why I'm here and why am going to continue to attend the meetings is some of my own personal preservation and also for my community. I made a list of things that I tend to work on through MCOG. Some of them may be off base, but some of them should reflect what MCOG is trying to do or is doing for our community. So I'd like to let the MCOG board and the people here know that anything that has to do with the public transit mall, I'm probably going to have a comment on or work towards. Rural road speeding, speeding in Brook Trails and Covelo and some of the areas in Redwood Valley, Hopland, etc. Self-propelled activities such as bicycles, the rails to trails, anything that is self-propelled and doesn't require gasoline or electricity, kayaks, boats, anything like that. If anything that comes up with MCOG, horses, that kind of thing, I'm going to probably have a comment on. Redesigning some of our parking lots. I'd like to see that last time they were redesigned was for compact vehicles. I think if we work on redesigning our parking lots, it's going to help the thinking of the community to make better choices when it comes to the vehicles that they use for transportation. Our buses and our evacuation plans for fires and tsunamis. Anytime that has to do with an evacuation plan, a safety zone, or getting large amounts of people out of a small area and to a place where they'll be safe, you're going to hear from me on that. Gas stations, again, I think that if we can reduce our carbon footprint by not allowing gas stations or limiting the amount of gas stations or comparing gas stations to electrical charging stations, you're going to see me here and have a comment. Drive-throughs also, another issue I have, continuous idling, the lack of safety when it comes to traffic studies and how they're only related to vehicles. And even though traffic is usually pedestrian traffic, bicycle traffic, and in some cases equestrian traffic, so you're gonna hear from me on that, and also anything that has to do with the environment and helping make a safe, a viable, sustainable place for our kids to grow up and stay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate your concern for the community. All right, any other public expression? Is there any in our satellite sites? Okay. All right, so moving on to the regular calendar. So number 9 is the First Amendment to fiscal year 24-25, RTPA and COG budget. The executive committee reviewed all of these recommendations and approved them and is sending them on to the full board. I'll turn it over to staff at this point.
I'll take that one. Janet Orth, Deputy Director and CFO. You have my written staff report and a set of resolutions to be approved for this budget amendment. Some of these are actions that have already been taken in the last few months as part of this fiscal year, and some are new. And we're basically gathering together a number of budget issues that need to be put together into an amendment. And once these are approved, I will be preparing a document like this, and it will contain, all of the resolutions, updated summary sheets, and all the parts and pieces that go into this budget document. So, as I've noted in my staff report here, this increases the total revenues up to $19 million and change. The total proposed allocations are 12 million or so, and there is a substantial balance that is remaining unallocated, and the major reason for that is a little over $5 million for the new Senate Bill 125 Formula Transit Program. That's primarily a capital program, and MCOG did adopt an allocation plan. It needs some an amendment, and we need to work out some procedures for transit to claim that money. So it's still there on the table. But I'm here to talk about the amendments. So in my staff report, you see I've broken this down as following the agenda. So each of these items is listed out on the agenda as a resolution and action we'd like you to approve. It can be done in a single motion. So I can walk through this. I could share my screen. I could talk through the staff report. I could look at the resolutions, however you'd like to do this. Maybe I could start with recapping my written report and summarize that, and then if we'd like to go into more detail, I could pull this up and share it on the Zoom screen, if that's helpful.
Well, I think it would be best to just give a summary of what your written report says.
And then we can see if anybody would like to go deeper in any of those.
And I think that with C and D, we've already dealt with those. So those are issues
that's right.
we've already approved.
That's exactly right. So the first one, number 9A on the agenda, is administration, planning, and reserves. I'll come back to that in a second. 9B is public transit. Third one, 9C, was for the senior centers transportation program. That was already approved in October. A resolution was signed. We're just pulling that into this amendment package. Number 9D, the Regional Early Action Planning, so-called REAP program, is for housing planning, and that's just kind of a cleanup item to just spell out in the resolution how much money was left in this fiscal year. It is the final year, and all that money has been fully claimed and paid, so we're just closing that one out. Number 9E, the RuralREN North programs that we just mentioned and approved the memorandum of agreement. This adds the money for that. So that's in a nutshell, but I think I ought to go over the first two in a little bit more detail. So 9A on your agenda, Administration, Planning, and Reserves, has a number of parts and pieces in it. So I've tried to bring everything up to date in that budget resolution that's already in the budget. And so there are some changes there. I'll start with the Down Associates Administration and Fiscal Services contract. Had not yet been approved at the time the budget was adopted in June. So we had estimates for the administrative staffing cost. And now that the contract was approved on August 12th, we have the actual costs that are in the contract. So those were added into the resolution.
So you're on the summary page.
I'm still on, I'm working on the staff report here and walking through that. And it is the first resolution that is in your package here. So would you rather I walk through the resolution and talk about it the way it's presented in the resolution? That might be better. There are a number of parts and pieces. of moving parts here.
What do people want?
Yeah.
I feel like the report is thorough, and much of this is stuff that we have discussed. I feel very confident in the report, and
Okay.
I don't necessarily need
Okay.
a play-by-play,
Okay.
but that's me.
So just, I'll do the overview and see where that leaves
Okay.
us. All right, so the contract,
Okay.
are we good then?
Let's see if directors Jeff and Bernie are you all right with that?
I'm fine with that as well. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
I'm good.
Very good.
Very good, I'll continue. Just to recap the more complex ones, the administration, we're using actual numbers instead of estimates is a lot of it. So we have the actual numbers for the staffing contract. We have now the actual numbers for the reserve fund. We've had to add a large amount, 1.8 million, to say in the narrative of this resolution how much is being returned by MTA for reallocation. That has its own reso. As I said, lots of moving parts. We have 20,000 being added to the administration staffing contract as a result of that reallocation. We have a reduction, less money being pulled from surface transportation block grant funds for administration. We have the planning overall work program that's had already approved. 2 amendments now, so now we have the latest amended numbers in here. And finally, we have the new RuralREN energy funds, and all that's being added here is the amount for staffing purposes and direct costs, not the entire program. And that has its own resolution, but it does tie into administration. So those are the items. I know it's a lot of items, but that's what's built into this amended resolution. Okay, so that is that first item. The second item is public transit funds recovery and reallocation. We've been talking about this a lot in these meetings, and we've had many committee meetings, reports to the board along the way, but the gist of it is the last fiscal audit found that the local transportation funds were over allocated to transit. They didn't, because they got a lot of federal funds they drew down for COVID relief. They then they had more money than they had actual costs according to our state law, Transportation Development Act. We have to ask for those local funds back. We can reallocate them. So that's what this is. We have worked closely with Mendocino Transit Authority Management to see how would they like to see these funds reallocated. The executive committee has weighed in on this and also recommended this breakdown of how to reallocate. It's now 1.7 million after already allocating some for senior centers and administration. So now that's a lot of money. It needed its own resolution. So in putting together this package, I thought the best thing was to add this new resolution that explains all of that. The original funds that went to transit for this current year, the new funds, that'll stand alone. It'll still be there. So this is just saying what's to be done with the reallocation, and what it comes down to is an amount for operations, amount for a capital project, and some money for reserves. And that essentially is that whole resolution, number 9B on your agenda. So that's the hard part. As I said, 9C, you already approved some additional money for senior centers, and that was already amended into our transit reso. So we're going to have 2 transit resolutions in this package now. And I already talked about the housing closeout and the energy funds. So that is the whole package. It's a lot, but we thought it was better to kind of pull together all these individual actions that were made over the past few months, put them into one big budget amendment. So that's what I have.
All right. Any comments from the board? Director Connie.
I just wanted to thank you, Janet. As usual, I find your reports thorough, and I feel like my questions are answered before I even have them. I really appreciate that this is broken down into 5 different resolutions. I feel like for future board members, for the public, it will make things clear years down the road when we aren't here to answer these questions. So I appreciate you taking the time to make it so transparent. And with that, I would move to approve all 5 resolutions, move this First Amendment forward after we have, of course, any.
I agree. I will second.
Thank you very much.
Okay, any other comments from the board? Okay, public comment?
Number 7
Yeah,
on the agenda.
That was part of, it is not part of this current one. It was already approved in the consent calendar under item 7.
That's a separate issue. MTA has a leaking roof in their administration building, and there is funding for that repair and maintenance, so that's allocated on its own.
Okay, any other public comment? Seeing none? All right. Call the question.
Director Mike Carter, Director Greta Connie,
Yes.
Director Jeff Hansen,
Yes.
Director Bernie Norvell,
Yes.
Director Josephina Duenas,
Yes.
and Acting Chair John Haschek.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, very good. So
Thank you very
passed
much.
all of 9. Okay, moving on to item 10, discussion, direction, and possible adoption of the 2025 MCOG board calendar.
All right, so we have in the packet a draft board calendar. This is, it's optional to take action today. Often we wait and take final action on the board calendar at the February meeting when new board members have been seated. This is a preview, though, of what we anticipate for the coming year. We do have one adjustment from our typical schedule. The August meeting has previously been on the 2nd Monday, but we've got it on the 3rd Monday this year, just to allow a little more time for preparation of our annual overall work program closeout and First Amendment. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward, and we can answer any questions. And like I said, you can approve this, or we can wait and take final action in February.
Well, it seems like, this is for informational purposes, and since we do have some people leaving the board and new people coming on, that it would be best to wait until February 3rd, to really finalize the calendar. So, okay, if that's all right with everyone. Okay. Right, are there any public comments about this? So what we will agree on is that we will meet February 3rd.
All right, thank you.
So moving on to item 11, recognition of departing board members. So turn it over to the executive director.
All right, so we do have, last month in Covelo, we honored our outgoing chair, Dan Jurdy, for his many years serving MCOG. But we do have 2 other board members that will be finishing their service to their respective organizations, City of Ukiah and City of Fort Bragg. And so this will be the last meeting representing those organizations for Director Duenas and Director Norvell, and so we do want to recognize their service as MCOG board members and show appreciation for everything that they have done. So I have 2 certificates. I'll just go ahead and read those. So in recognition of Josefina Duenas, on behalf of MCOG, we recognize and appreciate your dedicated service during your term of office on the Board of Directors as an elected representative of the City of Ukiah from January 2023 through December 2024. Special recognition is made of the ways you have supported public transit, represented perspectives of community diversity and equity, and brought a caring and inclusive spirit to the work of meeting regional transportation needs. Thank you.
Do we want to get are we going to get a picture
We,
at some point?
yeah, we should do pictures before we adjourn for the day.
Yeah, okay.
And then in recognition of Bernie Norvell, on behalf of MCOG, we recognize and appreciate your dedicated service during your term of office on the Board of Directors as an elected representative of the City of Fort Bragg from January 2023 through December 2024. Special recognition is made of your service on the Executive Committee as the CalCog alternate delegate and your assistance in resolving difficult budget issues, securing our staffing services into the future, and supporting regional transportation priorities. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a great learning experience for me to be on this board. I appreciate all of you and your tolerance for my learning the process here. So thank you all very much.
Well, yeah, thank you both for your dedication to our county and the work that we're doing on this board.
Yes, very much appreciated.
We'll have the signed certificates.
Signed certificates, and we'll get a picture after. I'm gonna wait until the end of the meeting to get a picture.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I guess so. So Bernie, don't sign out when the meeting's over.
All right. So at this point, we're going to recess as a Policy Advisory Committee, reconvene as a Regional Transportation Planning Agency. Is there a motion to ratify the action of the Policy Advisory Committee? Okay. Any public comment? Okay. No comments from the board? Call the question.
Director Mike Carter? Director Greta Connie?
Yes.
Director Jeff Hansen?
Yes.
Director Bernie Norvell?
Yes.
Director Josephina Duenas?
Yes.
And Acting Chair John Haschek.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, very good. We'll move on to reports. So, Caltrans is not present, so go to the Mendocino Transit Authority. Okay, the Great Redwood Trail Agency. We do have a Great Redwood Trail Agency board meeting on Thursday, and it's at both Kaya Chambers, City Chambers, and also up in Humboldt, I think at the Board of Supervisors Chambers. So those 2 places, otherwise you can zoom into the meeting too. So MCOG staff. Oh, and the Great Redwood Trail Agency starts at 10:30 Thursday. MCOG staff, summary of meeting.
You have the report in the packet, and nothing to add, but happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none? All right, we'll go to the MCOG administration staff.
Right, no miscellaneous reports, but as we discussed previously, we do have our next meeting on February 3rd.
All right, thank you. MCOG planning staff.
Right, I believe up first, we've got James.
Okay. Mr.
Just going to give a
Suckling.
quick update on the RTP and the ATP process. So currently, we are finishing up our first round of public outreach. I have a meeting on Thursday evening with the Westport MAC. At least that's the current plan.
James, could you
We are
speak up a little
also-
bit?
Yeah, not a problem. I'll talk a little louder. Is that better?
A little, Josefina, can you hear? Okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, continue
okay?
on.
Okay. So we are currently reviewing our goals and policies to see if there are any updates that need to be made to those. And we have done our initial request to the local agencies for their short-term and long-term project lists. And we will be working with the Great Redwood Trail Agency to update the old NCRA information that was in there, as well as adding to the active transportation element in the RTP and the ATP plan. That's pretty much where we are at the moment. Are there any questions?
Seeing none? Thank you. So the work element 5?
Hey, thank you. This is Alexis Pedrati with MCOG Planning. Work element 5 is the Mendocino County Sea Level Rise Roadway Impact Fee Study, or the Impact Study, I'm sorry. This is a grant-funded project, a climate adaptation planning grant that MCOG was awarded to develop a feasibility study to analyze, identify, and propose modifications to at-risk Mendocino County coastal roads. This project is just being started. We have worked with Caltrans on our kickoff meeting. We are working to get the RFP, the request for proposals, out. We will be working very closely with County DOT staff, along with other partner agencies involved in this project. And we look forward to get it up and running. And I know that we've had several public members interested in this project as well. And we are working to include and keep everyone up to date as the RFP and the project gets started. We hope to have a consultant on board by March. So that is currently the status of this grant-funded project.
Okay. Any questions from the board or comments? All right, seeing none, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, work element 9, Noyo Harbor Multimodal Circulation Plan.
All right, in absence of Loretta, I'm going to give it just a brief update on this one. So as previously reported, there were some outreach events in September and October that were pretty successful, well attended. There have also been direct stakeholder interviews and other outreach efforts. Outreach is sort of on hold right now with the holidays happening. But we'll pick up again in the spring. The next public outreach event will be in April, and it'll be a 2-day charrette. There is a survey currently open on the project website that anyone can use to provide input. And I'll note that that survey or information on this project, as well as our other projects, including the RTP and links to public participation opportunities for those, can all be found on our website, which is mendocinocog.org. So that's what's happening with the Noyo Harbor project.
All right, any questions, comments? All right, seeing none. Thank you, and we'll move on to miscellaneous.
I don't think there's any miscellaneous planning
Okay.
items.
All right, director reports. Oh, Gizmo? Sure.
I just wanted, before we leave 13, my comment on 13A, project updates and information from Caltrans. The Highway 20 bridge overpass looks like it's almost finished. We're still having some issues with lighting where you go to enter Redwood Valley. If it's nighttime, it's just weird when you pull out in the middle of the highway and people are coming down from Lake Mendocino or from Potter Valley or Highway 20 heading west at 60, 65 miles an hour. You just kind of feel like you're sitting out there. And thank you for mentioning the Great Redwood Trail. And I also wanted to thank James for attending our MCOG meeting last month. And I forgot the young lady's name, but she was also there, the one who's working on the sea level rise. And I just wanted to bring to the attention that the board that they attended one of our MAC meetings on our new bus stop in Redwood Valley around the corner. So I just wanted to...
It was James and Alexis Pedrati
Alexis,
that
thank
attended,
you.
yes.
Okay, very good. So, MCOG directors.
I just wanted to say that we in Willits will likely have a new mayor and new committee appointments. So I will ask to be remaining on MCOG, but if I'm not, it's been a pleasure working with you all, and we'll see what happens in a week.
Yeah, we're hoping that you remain.
Me too.
I just want to say I really love this board. I have been really happy years that I have been. Thank you so much for being so nice, so kind, and helping me with all my problems with my disabilities. I really feel that I belong to this board, and trust me that I will be seeing you on TV or on YouTube or wherever that you are going to be alive. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve the way I do. God bless. Thank you.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you. We'll miss your contributions. Are there any comments from Zoom? Directors Norvell,
No, sir.
Hanson?
No.
Okay. And, yeah, I'll just say, miss our chair, Jerdy, and it was, he had to do what he's doing, which is working in transportation, and so we wish him the best on that. And also, thank you to everyone who helped make that trip to Covelo happen, and a very successful event. I think the people were very appreciative of us going up there and seeing what their issues are and their projects that are at hand. And, there's a lot of excitement about what, these future projects that we got to see. So, I know it's a hassle, and requires a lot of effort to get these shows on the road, but it certainly is appreciated by people. Thank you. And then the CalCog delegate, which is me. So there was a CalCog meeting the week before last on the Friday over in Sacramento. It was in the basement of the Caltrans building. So we talked about the goals of CalCog, which are, the gas tax transition because of, the electric vehicles not paying the gas tax, and so, the loss of income to the state and subsequent transportation programs. And so that's one of the big goals, is to figure out what to do with that and help it be equitable and representative of rural along with urban. Another one was the housing issues, especially with the RENA implementation, and then also SB 375 implementation, looking at the vehicle miles traveled, and then alternative fuels infrastructure, and like they say in CalCog, that they're energy source agnostics. They just want to make sure that whatever's done is done in the best way. And they're going to continue telling regional stories as part of, making sure that the lawmakers know what's going on the ground. Because often, if we don't tell our stories, they're clueless, and they might think that their good ideas are the best thing ever, and it really doesn't work out that way. I was at the California State Association of Counties meeting last week, their conference, and there was a presentation by the Air Resource Board, and because there's a transition to the electric vehicles, and so a lot of the director of that program was there presenting, and he received a lot of feedback from counties saying, how are you going to create an electric vehicle for our snow plow, or these other heavy trucks that they only have one of, that they don't work, electric batteries don't work when it's really cold or at high altitude. There's just a myriad of problems associated with the one-size-fits-all kind of legislation. And so hopefully California Air Resource Board heard those, because they did get an earful. And CalCog also added staff, and so now they're up to 7 staff at CalCog. And they're going to do these trainings for new COG members. So, a lot of, we come on the COG, we don't know very little. And so they're going to do a series of training videos that teach us what the COG is for, what the different programs are, the funding mechanisms, those kind of things. Help us get up to speed quicker than the 1 or 2 or 5 years it takes to learn all of it. So that's one of their, and with that, that was the CalCog meeting. Yeah, that's what I want. Well, I was saying I want to watch those videos even when they come out, right? Even after being on this. All right. Okay, anything else from the board? All right, seeing none, we will adjourn at 2:17, and thank you all and happy holidays.
And thank you, and we'll, those that, board members stay on, Bernie, stay on the Zoom for a minute, and we'll grab a picture of our outgoing board members. All right, thanks
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Happy holidays.
You guys are great.